Welcome to this week's Awakening Divine Wildness. And as you know, I'm Duane, the host of the show. And this week, I'm doing a solo appearance, something I've never done before on my podcast. I wanted to update the audience, the followers, friends, where we're at with Broken Open. A lot has happened since April 17th. Here it is. I can't believe the response, the workshops, the people that have stepped forward on this journey. It breaks my heart open again to know that I'm touching women's lives the way that I am. I wrote the book, as you know, because I had my own journey of being broken open by betrayal and trying to figure out how I was going to heal. And it was just a huge, huge process ahead of me, and I was clueless. So I started with books, support groups, special support meetings. And what I saw in that journey was so many women still rooted in pain, so many women still stuck in anger and resentment. They had given up on living life. They said, some of them said, I'm never going to love again. To me, that was more tragic than what initially had happened. And I knew at that point in time, I did not want to end up like that. And I said, if I can figure this out, I'm going to write about it. And that's exactly what has happened. I did write about it. It's very warm here today. Whew. So I started the journey, and I realized a few things very early on, really powerful, powerful lessons. And the first one was that someone else's behavior did not define who I was as a woman. Somebody else's unconscious behavior did not define my self-worth. It was a missing link in that person, and it had nothing to do with me. And that was huge in then opening me up to investigating further and doing deeper inquiry. Well, what is my part in all of this? How do I heal myself in all of this? And with meditation and journaling, those answers came through loud and clear. And from that, one of the key things I learned was someone else's behavior, if you're expecting them to say, I'm sorry, to do something to make you feel better, is not really going to heal you. It's going to be a nice Band-Aid temporarily, but it's not really going to heal you. In order for you to heal, it must be from you. It must be the inner work that you're willing to do and to put into this to help you heal. It's not somebody else's job. It's your job to help yourself heal. This was key because I was stuck in a place saying, well, only if he would do this, if he would do that, then I would feel better. I would be more comfortable. But that was wrong because it wasn't his job to fix me. It was my job to fix me. And I think that's a key lesson for women who have been hurt in a love relationship, is to realize that you need to look within to heal that wound. It's not going to be done by somebody else's efforts. I want to read a quote from the book, which I think really helped me early on in this journey. The light coming through the crack in your heart is illuminating a new path for you. It has the power to burn away the old distortions of yourself and create a powerful inner transformation of freedom. And that's what I realized was the more I was prepared to do that work, to look within myself, to accept responsibility for my part in a relationship, the greater freedom I felt in my life, in my choices, and just such an increased sense of power and ability to make really good choices that were going to nurture me and support my growth. So the interesting thing about being broken open is it's about you looking within, looking deep within that wound and finding the buried, denied pain from previous situations that is stuffed down in there, that is now triggering what you're going through today. Because invariably, we all have a love story. And that's what I call your past relationship history, your past experiences with love is your love story. And we all have one. We start forming a love story when we're about 5, 6 years old, because we're learning that if we behave a certain way, we get love. And if we don't do certain things that people want from us, we don't get love. And so we learn that love is conditional. And then we grow up and we formulate the opinion of love based on the relationships around us as we're growing up, whether it be our parents, siblings, relatives, friends. We formulate how relationships should be based on those very early experiences. And nothing could be crazier, because here you are dealing with a love relationship now as a grown-up, and yet using the filters, the perceptions that you developed as a child. You're working with outdated data. That's insane. Old lenses looking at a new situation, allowing the past to formulate a picture of what the present should look like, allowing the past to create expectations of what you want now. It's a recipe for disaster. Interesting, huh? And I didn't know that until I started to do all this deep inner work when I was writing this book. I was determined to figure out how to get out of pain and become whole again and feel complete and feel joy and happiness and feel love again. So I knew I had a lot of work to do ahead of me. And then the third thing I realized, which is the toughest one, I think, for women, there was only one way to feeling better, really better, really healed, and that was through forgiveness. And many women said, oh my God, I can never forgive. How can you forgive him for what he did? Well, I found a way, because I really looked at forgiveness. I think I read 3 or 4 books just on that topic alone. And I read an amazing book about a man who forgave another man in jail who killed his wife. Now, if someone can forgive another human being for that, that's a big one. So I started looking at what is forgiveness? What's it going to do? Well, forgiveness is cutting those cords to that painful experience that is keeping you in judgment, keeping you in fear, keeping you in feeling angry and in pain. And if those cords are still connected to this situation, you really can't fully heal. So you have to cut the cords. And every day after my meditation, I would go through a cord cutting, praying to Archangel Michael to cut the energetic cords that tied me to this experience that broke my heart. I blessed my ex-husband. I prayed that the highest and best would happen for him and for me. And every day by doing that, I got a little freer and a little freer. And then I realized something monumental about forgiveness. Forgiveness is really taking back our power from a situation or a person that held their power over us. Interesting. So what we're really doing when we forgive is we're reclaiming our own power, and we're freeing us from the powerful energy that was holding us as a victim, as a hostage to deep emotional wounds. And by cutting those cords and by taking back my power, I was able to really, at that point, step up and be at complete peace with what had happened, to be at complete peace with my ex-husband, and to be at complete peace with myself. Because in a situation like this, there's always feelings of guilt and shame and feeling like you're a failure. And I was able to let go of all of that as well and really step back into being whole, to self-love, to really nurturing myself, and then looking at how I want to move forward. How do I want to live my life? What's going to feel good to me? Do I want to have love in my life again? I mean, I could start to have that conversation, which when I started the journey was an impossibility. But I knew I'm open to having love again in my life. And I think that's a big, big, big step for women who have been deeply hurt, that they do not shut down and that they keep their hearts open. Because if you shut down, I also think you compromise your health and everything else. But if you can stay open, you invite so much more goodness into your life. And you just don't know. You don't know what's coming. You don't know who's coming. I don't know. But I'm open. I'm willing. I'm being flexible. Yeah. And I'm trusting the universe to deliver. I'm not trying to make this happen. No, I'm trusting the universe this time. I don't need to push or anything. If it's meant to be, it will be. So those are the three key lessons. I mean, there are many lessons in the book, but those are the three key ones that I keep getting asked about when I go to book signings and workshops. I just want to read some of the reviews that have come in on Amazon. I mean, I'm like a little kid when I get these. It's so exciting. The shock of a partner's betrayal, whether virtual or occurring in real life, can create a profound collapse of self, a kind of PTSD that can be almost as devastating as living through the trauma of war. But Broken Open provides the ultimate roadmap to healing and triumphing over such betrayal, loss, and suffering. It shows how, at our darkest hour, there is a most potent. It shows how, at our darkest hour, there is the most potential for growth, for the heart to open, and for us to move upward and onward to fulfilling life that is beyond our wildest dreams. Plus, it's beautifully written and engaging. Ooh. And another one, as painful as heartbreak is, it serves a purpose. And I say this so much in the book. All of these things that happen in our lives happen for a reason, and it's always about teaching us something about ourselves. Betrayal is a call to do things differently. Duane's Broken Open, Embracing Heartbreak and Betrayal as Gateways to Unconditional Love, takes you through a deep practice to uncover your resilience and emerge as a woman not afraid to stand in her own truth. Mm. It just, what I love about the response to the book is that women identify with the pain. So many have been in those shoes of just being left breathless when they've discovered something they shouldn't have come across or seen something they shouldn't have seen. And it does. It leaves you breathless. When you're betrayed, you feel like an animal that's been gutted and left on the roadside. And it doesn't matter what somebody does, what their action is that causes the betrayal. That's not the important part here. What's important is the wound that's left behind. And that's what I emphasized in the book. The wound is a gaping wound. It's very painful. And it takes work to figure it out, to walk through it, and to get on the other side of that pain. I invite you to a deeper conversation, if you would like. And I hope that Awakening Divine Wildness, the podcast, brings you the information that you need for your own personal growth, your own path of healing. That's why I do this show, and I get the guests that I invite on, is to have a resource for you of tips and tools and books and conversations that lift women up when they need it most. I look at myself as kind of a wounded healer. I think because of what I've gone through, several painful situations in this lifetime, has inspired me to read more, study more, learn about healing modalities, and then the greatest desire in my heart is to share those modalities with you, to help you to get back up when you've been knocked down, to show you ways in which you can do it, and the tools that will help you to do it. So this is this week's show. It's just me wanting to tell you that I'm here for you. I love you deeply, all of you. I have the greatest respect for all of you out there. And I hope that you'll feel like I'm a sister and that you can reach out to me anytime on social media, find me on Facebook, wherever. Reach out, say hello, ask a question. I'm there for you. I will respond personally. I will share whatever I have learned in my own journey with you to help you get out of those fires of hell and back on the path to the happiness and joy that you deserve in this lifetime. Until my next show, bless you. And it's just an honor to be able to come to you every 2 weeks here on Awakening Divine Wildness. Until the next show, bye.